We should probably pretend that we know what we're doing here. And yes, Santa is with us today. Hello, Peter.
I'm
How are
not Peter.
you?
I'm Adam Scott Glancy.
Yeah, okay. How about this? Matt, Nadia, Egon.
Yes, have some.
Let's have some.
Yes, have some.
Are you the key
Yes, have
master?
some. Yes, have
All
some.
right, where am I echoing, Carpenter?
I just turned the volume off on the YouTube stream.
God,
Usually you got Alan,
every
you
time.
browbeat Alan all the time, so like he has to run around and check the YouTube stream, but he's not here.
Nadia's rethinking this already.
Yeah, I'm like, how do I leave? I'm click the little leave like.
Oh, it's very easy. We just click the button.
Oh, you can eject me too, right?
Oh, is there like a voting thing now in Zoom?
Uh,
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, everyone, welcome back to the Lovecraft eZine podcast. This is my second podcast of the day. Earlier today, I interviewed, and Jeremiah Dylan Cook helped me interview the guy who published In the Mouth of Madness these past few days, the novelization.
Yeah, I'm
So,
about a quarter way into it. It's an enjoyable novelization.
yeah, and it was a fun chat. He's a very fun guy to talk with.
It can't
And
be any better than this.
what?
I'm jealous.
Holy crap.
This this came out in 1980, 1995.
Huh.
Still like 10 years after the movie.
Yeah. And
I thought the movie was like 90.
Oh,
basically it's fan fiction. Somebody wrote
ah,
fan fiction of Sutter Kane.
oh,
Oh,
cool.
okay. Well, that's all right. We talked about fan fiction today too. So our guest today is Nadia Bulkin. Hey, Nadia.
hi.
Nadia, I'm so glad Nadia is here. Nadia is one of my favorite people. Seriously. I'm not just saying that. When have I ever said that on this podcast? Never.
No, I
That's
know
true.
I'm one of
That's
your
true.
Said it to me or Pete, so
I
great.
meant besides the other panelists, of course. Yes. Nadia's probably done a lot of interviews for this new book, and she's like, this one's not working out already. I can tell.
No,
Hey,
never.
I have a bunch of questions that are just not related to her book.
that's fine too.
They're
Whatever.
related to movies. She's an
Oh,
expert, so I need
I
to.
am. I am.
yeah, we're gonna do another recording of that later this month, right, Nadia? I think
That's right.
we set a date. It's on my calendar.
Mhm.
Well, Peter Relic is with us. Pete, you want to introduce yourself?
I am Pete Rollick. I am a layabout and a ne'er-do-well. And if you
Hmm.
ask all the people that I'm responsible to, I don't produce enough for them. And you know, my wife and kids hate me, my editors hate me, my boss hates me. So,
I don't see how your editors can hate you. You
well,
always return everything. You always send everything in on time.
so literally I've been making a list of things to do. And that's all you get to see.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
yeah, and crossing them off. And then people just keep adding stuff like, oh, I bought 4 sets of under sink storage sliding shelves. Can you install these today? Like, yeah, sure, why not?
Okay.
I've got nothing better to do.
All right. That was a little bit more than I was hoping for, but that's good.
All right, well, you asked.
I don't know what time Danielle and I were checking out at a Target or something, and Danielle, she goes, "How are you?" And Danielle made the mistake of saying, "We're good. How are you?" And she told us.
Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
next,
You never asked.
Matt Carpenter is here, and I believe you have a prize.
I do. This is a novel called uh, Waking the Crow. Wakening the Crow. It is by Stephen Gregory. I read it last summer or was it 2 summers ago? I was preparing for the bird horror panel at Necronomicon. You can
Oh,
win this paperback copy if you send an email to ezineprizes@gmail.com. Just put Crow in the subject heading. We don't draw a winner for 6 to 8 weeks. You got plenty of time, even if you're watching this later, to get your entry in because you can't win. You don't get a chance if you don't enter.
just
Um,
like the lottery. Can't win
I
if you don't
also
play.
I do Lovecraft eZine movie night, and well, whether I have one this weekend is just a teeny bit up in the air because I'm going to Madison, and if we're going to do something as a family in the evening, I can't do it. But I've not seen Something Wicked This Way Comes since it came out
It's
in 1980.
streaming now. Yeah. I
Streaming
was
on
going to mention that.
it's
Yeah.
streaming on Peacock. So
And Disney Plus.
and I'm going to yeah, I'm sorry, it is on Disney Plus, not Peacock.
So is it
I'm going to show it for movie night this coming Saturday. So just watch
Gosh,
announcements on Facebook.
I love that movie and I love the book even more.
We just watched Death of a Vlogger last night. Um,
Oh,
that
yeah.
movie's like 7 years old now, I think.
I haven't seen that. I don't remember it really.
It is. What was the movie we watched where there's a summoning ritual on Facebook on a Zoom call?
Post.
Yeah, okay. So it's kind of like fits sort of in that genre. I'd say it was better than mediocre.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I agree.
You could watch it and occupy yourself, and if you never see it, you've not missed a masterpiece.
I
I think I
remember,
gave it like 3 stars or something like that
Uh,
on Letterboxd.
I was thinking 3 stars out of 10 would be okay.
Oh, well, I grade horror on a curve. I grade found footage on even more of a curve than I grade
Okay, well, I actually would have given this for IMDb. I would have given it like 4.5
out of 5, right?
out of no, geez, out of 10.
you're on different pages with the scoring, both of
We
you.
are. I
No,
know.
it's like it's just I think we rate the movie the same. It's just how would she,
Right.
as a horror professional, as opposed to a dilettante, rate it?
It's more like a found footage freak. That's how I would. That's how I rate it. You know. But yeah, because I see so many. So
Sure.
you see so much that's like 1 out of 5. And so when you get like competent, okay, it's like, oh, 3 stars, you know.
That's kind of sadly true.
That same Necronomicon that you referred to, Nadia, was guest of honor.
That's right. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to next year's convention too.
Have they picked a guest of honor already?
I have no idea. No.
Probably, I don't know if they've informed them.
Might be
They're
or
just
not.
starting to circulate emails about panels or things or activities they may want to share.
And you haven't received the invitation yet, Matt? To be
No, they like
guest
me.
on guest honor.
They like me because I pay them when I go there.
Oh, well, Nadia has a new book out called Issues with Authority.
Right, and I have it right.
Well, so we can't see
Well,
it.
you got
Blurry.
I'm gonna
you're
unblur.
blurry.
I'm gonna unblur.
Yeah, you're on blur.
Gosh,
So
I have to like figure out how Zoom works, you know.
there you go.
There you go.
Perfect.
Looks like that.
Oh, that's an interesting cover, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here, let me spot the light up for everyone. There you go. Yeah.
Who's the publisher?
Ghoulish.
And who's the
Ghoulish of
artist?
Texas. It's Max Booth III's publishing house.
Is he the artist too, or is someone else?
So the designer was Matthew Rebert. And I think he was kind of like, I wanted something that was collagey. That's what I asked for. So hence the sort of cutting things, flowers on top, you know, that was the vibe.
Yeah.
So
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Kim just posted that your volume seems a little low, Nadia.
oh, okay.
I've noticed that too. Yeah, your input.
Let's,
But while
You're
she works on
perfectly
that,
fine for me.
how's that? No
seems
change?
good.
Better?
About the same. But
Well-
we can hear you fine. If it can't be corrected,
How
then
about this? Didn't do anything.
that seemed to, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Well, hey, let's do this. For those of you, those out there who don't know who you are, could you introduce yourself?
Yes. So
yeah, your volume's much better. Great.
Okay. Is it too loud?
No. I was
Okay,
adjusting
great.
before.
Cool. So yes, my name's Nadia. I'm a horror writer, mostly of short stories to date. But I am trying to transition into longer works. Hence, this book is 3 novellas put together. So that's my my first transition. Um, but anyway, yeah, I'm based in DC. I do not work for the government. I always have to clarify that. And let's see, my first collection was called She Said Destroy, came out in 2017 from Word Horde. And I've been on this show a number of times. Mike and I love to talk about movies. I am a huge horror movie fan as well.
Yep.
So yeah, so this is the second book, sort of book-sized book that I've published. I also was the editor for Why Didn't You Just Leave, which won the Shirley Jackson this year for best anthology. So that was, yeah.
I'm not, I don't think awards, let me put it to you this way. When it
Mm,
comes to horror awards, I
mm.
think a lot of the Shirley Jackson Award. So, that's really it's a great system, and I think we interviewed you and Julia, right? Yeah, I
Yeah,
know we did
yeah.
before the book came out,
Hmm.
the editors. And so that's an accomplishment. That's all I'm trying to say. That's quite an accomplishment to win the
Yeah,
Shirley
we were
Jackson.
like extremely surprised. But it was, yeah, we were so happy for our writers, honestly, to get that, like, you know, recognition. So
Yeah.
that was really, really nice.
Um, you're a political consultant, right?
No, no.
Not anymore.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Although
Now
Wikipedia, it's behind.
well, I'm not responsible for my Wikipedia. I've
I
never
know. I'm
never
kidding.
looked at it. So no, I'm not. I am in consulting sort of generally. But I just do like research consulting now for companies. So nothing to do with politics.
Okay.
And that's how we like it. So
Well, what was if you don't mind me, the
Mhm.
diversion for a second, what was your original plan when you graduated from college?
Or when I went to college.
Yeah.
I
Well,
was, yeah, I was a political science major. Yeah. And
yeah,
it was because I was like, I don't know, I'd wanted to be a political science major since I was really young. My dad was a political scientist, so it was kind of, connecting with my dead father sort of thing.
yeah,
I really enjoy the subject. Like it's great, but I did not have it in me to go into academia. And
yeah,
I'm glad I didn't because I think that's a really tough sledding um career choice.
yeah,
So didn't choose to do that. But by then I had my master's and I was like, well, I mean, what better place to use that than in Washington, DC? So
right,
I'd gone to my master's in DC and I just stayed, tried to make it work, tried to use my degree, which landed me in consulting, like political consulting. That's where the Wikipedia thing comes from, briefly. But I flamed out of that, as they say, and just transitioned to something completely different. So yeah, I don't use my degree at all now, but I will say I use a lot of like the critical thinking, that sort of logic that goes into
right.
a standard liberal arts degree in my job, which is pretty cool, actually. I used less of it when I was in the consulting job. Um, so yeah, don't use it, but that's okay.
Well, according to Wikipedia and what Nadia is too modest to say, you graduated summa cum laude, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a hell of an accomplishment too, or so I hear anyway. Um,
I was like a
so
huge nerd in college. Like I was like surrounded by books of like my poli sci stuff. Like my writing my thesis was like my hobby.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So will you tell the audience about the book? It's Issues with Authority, and it's 3 novellas, as you mentioned already.
Yeah, yeah. So basically last year I wrote a chapbook, I guess, for Dim Shores that was called Red Skies in the Morning.
Yeah, I have an art here, print art.
Yeah, there, yeah, yeah. And you were lucky because you were one of the like very this is like a limited run, like 150 copies, so it sold out really quickly. And Max at Ghoulish reached out and was like, would you like to publish it again? Because Dim Shores was very happy to just have me, republish in a larger run, essentially. So yeah, that's this one. Read that. I can't really.
Yes, Red Skies in the Morning.
Yeah. So that's the last one in this book. And then the other ones were, the first one is one I wrote just for this book, which is called Cop Car. And the second one is one that was published a few years ago by Crystal Lake, called Your Next Best American Girl. And that one was published as part of like a 3-novella collection with Jess Landry and Sophia Ajram. So, yeah.
Now,
all together.
Well, first of all, Nadia, I really enjoyed the stories.
Thank you.
I mean, as many people have said, and Paul and I have talked, something to the effect of, damn it, she's too young to be way better than I am, or something to that effect. But yeah, you're a really great writer. I enjoyed these three. I'm trying to figure out which one I enjoyed the most, but I think it would be Cop Car.
That's Paul's favorite too, I think. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
It's really interesting actually, because people will be like, there's such clear people will be like, this is my favorite, like hands down, like this is my favorite. And like it's not, it's all over the place, which is I love that. It would be worse if everybody's favorite was the same one, because then you're like, ugh.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
They suck, but like I appreciate that like different ones speak to different people.
It reminded me a bit, just a bit of a story I read when I was a kid. I mean, this got to be 45 years ago. Old science fiction short story. It was called Ollie's It or Andy's It or something like that. It was about this kid who had this power. He was a nice guy, but his id wasn't so nice. And subconsciously, he just worked everything around him until finally he was king of the world. And, the scientists close to him tried to kill him, and that didn't work, for the good of the world. And so, yeah, it reminded me a little bit of that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that sounds, my inspiration for Cop Car was, I think I had seen, it wasn't Firestarter. There's a very similar one that's like the government is abducting these like child psychics. Oh, it's like an 80s movie.
Oh, King's got a newer one, but
The Institute.
The Institute,
yeah, but it can't be from the 80s. From the 80s, Matt.
Oh,
I think it was the 80s.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like the movie opens with a guy, like it's a father and son, and the CIA basically like kills the father and like abducts the son or something like that. So, and then they're like in a school for psychics, and it's all about like breaking free of the CIA's like I'm not sure they would really identified as CIA, but like the government's evil, authority over them.
Right.
And also like obviously Stranger Things has that kind of a plot line too. And I just wanted to write a story where instead of the pure-hearted child psychic defeating the evil manipulative government, and the government is still evil and manipulative arguably, but the child psychic is like a psychopath,
right,
and on a different level. And so she is not like your superhero, material at all. And in fact, like the government operative who adopts her and loves her is totally out of his depth. And she plays him completely, essentially. Not really necessarily intentionally, but she does. Yeah.
He finds her, he and other government officials, finds her in this cult. And she's 7 years old, and she's never known anything about the cult up to that point. So could you just, I mean, without spoilers as much as possible, kind of set it up what happens next?
Oh, sure. Yeah, so I guess where I would start is that she's basically My inspiration for Carly, the protagonist, was so in the Jurassic World movie, which is not an endorsement of these movies. I hate the sequels, but there's a point where the monster they made up, the genetic dinosaur, Indominus Rex, is like killing everything. And a character says that this dinosaur, this genetic mutation, is just trying to figure out its place in the world by figuring out where it can kill, like where it sits in the hierarchy of destruction, essentially, and violence. And I was like, that's exactly what Carly's doing. So she's already started this process in the cult. Um, and when the government gets a hold of her, they're like, they're trying to hone her into becoming a weapon, essentially, and trying to teach her how to use her power for specific objectives that they have, which start off domestic and become international. Obviously, this is also somewhat kind of inspired with the conspiracy age of the CIA using sort of exploring sort of psychic abilities and that kind of thing that we know a little bit about now. So it's all kind of set in like the 60s-ish without particularly naming it that.
Yeah.
But basically she grows up and she kind of starts to have her own agenda and her own interests. Her adoptive father, government agent father, has basically been telling her how great she is and how talented she is and making her seem like her entire goal should be like finding out the limits of her power. And that's how he basically is like motivating her to keep going and to follow his assignments.
Yeah.
And that backfires greatly.
It does.
As it naturally would, you know?
It was really, it really hooked me right at the beginning because it starts off something like the only record of Carly's existence for her first 7 years was a couple of entries
And her
in
mother's
her
diary.
mom's diary.
Yeah. And her mother is like totally doesn't really care about her. She's like a
Yeah.
young, fell into the cult, had a child with the cult leader, and only sees Carly as like a means to an end for like improving her own status within the cult, essentially. So yeah, I think the other factor is like she's never known like attachment, true attachment and love and security. I did a lot of research into like psychopathy and sociopathy and all the various words. So I tried to make it kind of as realistic a depiction. It was kind of like there are things that can prevent a child that already is inclined in that direction from going further in that direction, and she did not receive any of those things that would have intervened.
The the collection of the three novellas is titled Issues with Authority. And knowing you and other things that you've written and these three stories, I think I know what you're going to say, but I'm not the audience particularly, or not the audience necessarily, I meant to say.
Necessarily, yeah.
Yeah. Why'd you name it Issues with Authority?
It was a name that I'd had in my head for a while. I knew I wanted to use it, and I was like, oh, it's this one. But the meaning is twofold. One is that like it's like what they say about bad kids, right? I was a bad kid as a kid. Like you have issues with authority. You have issues with authority figures. You have a rebellious streak, essentially. But it can also be interpreted to be like there are issues inherent in having authority. Like having authority brings with it, just like having power brings with it a certain set of issues and complications. And I think that where I kind of wanted to go with this post She Said Destroy, which was very much like, I think the former, like rebellious, She Said Destroy, right? Is that to some extent, all of the main characters in these stories end up in or are already in positions of authority over others to some extent. And what does that look like? And it's not exactly awesome, for either them or the people they have authority over.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the kind of transition I wanted to make, was like, what does it mean after, Captain Hook has been dethroned? And now you're sitting in the pirate ship wearing Hook's cloak and holding up your finger like it's a hook, which is what Peter Pan does in the book. Which is also something that is kind of something I've always been interested in, because it's something that happens in post-colonial societies over and over and over. There's a dethroning of the powers that be, like the colonizers, and then the rebels move into the palace, essentially, and start using all of the weapons that were left behind and repeating the same mistakes.
Right.
Because some of it is just inherent to having power.
By the way, what happens to Pan afterwards and that whole thing there, you can find out by reading a novella called Hawk by John Regan. Have you read that?
No, I haven't, but I want to.
Well, his new collection, Lost in the Dark, it's my favorite story out of there.
Cool.
So it just made me think of that. I'm
yeah.
facetiously, but
I think there's a lot of ways to go with all that. So yeah.
Yeah. This is maybe an obvious thing to say, but it is so good for someone like me, a male, an older male, or so many other types of people, to read stories where the protagonist is a young female. Because one of the things they say about books, right, is that people who read fiction have higher levels of empathy, and I can only assume that's because what other type of storytelling are you in the protagonist's head, really?
Yeah.
And perhaps other characters.
Yeah.
Like you and I love movies, but you're not really in the heads of any of the characters you're watching.
Yeah. I mean, I think you can get to that, but there are issues, I think, with a visual depiction that are always going to complicate that, because you're always thinking, like, is this filmed with the like the quote unquote male gaze and things like there are projects where it's like, yeah, it's a female lead, but like it doesn't really feel like she's leading it in the same way that I can usually tell if like it's been directed by a man or a woman, like, pretty quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you. That's why I usually write women as my main characters, especially young women, because I think when I was a young woman reading, I didn't find a lot of characters that I related to. I read a lot of classic literature, and my favorite novel was Catch-22. Not a lot of women in that one. I still love it. It's my favorite, but like it's very male dominated. And actually the first time I picked it up, I was like really like turned off by it, because like the first few interactions, I was like younger then, and the first interactions were just like, oh, so it's like they're all whores, essentially, or it's all just like about sexual conquest. And I'm like, like, done. But then I had to read it again for English class when I was a little older, and I could sort of see past that into like the genius of the book. So I'm glad I did, but at the same time, it's when I finally found female characters that felt like me and not just like foils or side characters, side quests, essentially.
Right.
It was really great. And the first one was
I was going to ask, what were a few of those first ones?
So the very first one was Sylvia Plath, the Bell Jar. When I read that, I was like, oh, whoa. I thought I was the only one who felt this way. And then I read that and I was like, this is amazing. Like that was just like, obviously that's kind of about her life, but that was great. The other one was actually Haunting of Hill House. Those are the two that really made a difference for me. And yeah, it was Nell in Haunting, who obviously is like troubled. And I was very troubled. I was a troubled kid. So I think that was why I kind of couldn't see myself in a lot of the women that were in books that I'd read, was because they all were kind of like either like really good or really bad, and nobody was like kind of crazy and like not crazy, but just like filled with uncertainty and awkward in a real way, and like felt like they were the other and that it was all written from their perspective. So yeah, those two really made a difference for me.
I can only
That's
imagine,
actually
but it
why I
must
decided
have.
to write horror.
Sorry.
That's actually why I decided to write horror, was Haunting of Hill House.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. That's
Hmm.
cool. I can only imagine, but it must have been one hell of a difference. It must have been really gratifying
Yeah, yeah.
to finally read those two books.
Yeah, it genuinely felt like, I mean, that's why Shirley Jackson is, I hold her in such high esteem. Like my other favorite book is hers also, which is Hangs a Man, which is even more so a sort of lost, disturbed girl. Obviously inspired by a true story, that one, um, who wanders into the wilderness. Um, yeah, it was like, it was great. I just felt like suddenly I wasn't alone and I was seen, for the first
Wow.
time. And obviously now I'm like, oh, there's a whole world of people writing that, but it's just like, what do you get exposed to young? And it's these kind of classics that are not about, that tend to depict women in a particular kind of fashion, I guess I would say.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so good for, you know, men to hear that perspective because it's like, I guess, in a way, growing up with wealth and
Mm,
you don't know what it's
mm.
like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you grow up reading, you're a young man and you grow up reading books with male protagonists, and there are
Mhm.
a hell of a lot of them out there, then you don't even think about, oh, my friend in class down here who's a girl, who are her heroes?
Mhm.
So,
And my heroes were men, like Yossarian in Catch 22 was like,
yeah,
I made a shirt that said like Yossarian lives. I'm such a nerd, but in
nice.
high school, it was more so that didn't bother me so much because like I think women are expected to step into the shoes of male protagonists and to relate to them and to cheer for them, right? But then it's when you see the woman, that's when I was like, oh, that doesn't feel like me. It doesn't feel like any of my friends. It doesn't feel like my mom. Like, who is that? And that's the alienating part, actually,
The
is
who is that that's cheering for men?
hmm
Yeah,
yeah. Because other
yeah.
than that, you're like, I mean, if there were no women, something is terrible, but like Cormac McCarthy, like never wrote women, right? And it's like, well, I don't feel alienated because there's nothing to alienate me. It's just like you just assume like I'm in the man's world now and I'm in his shoes. But then when you
Right.
see a woman, you're like, oh wait, I would not be that person actually. I'd be like the victimized, you know, whatever, victim.
Uh, you wrote in another interview, the reason I put young women in my stories is because I never saw girls like me as the centerpiece and the actor with agency in stories. I always thought if I can just show some girl reading this that she does not have to be acted upon, that's
Mhm.
something I continue to impress upon myself to do.
Mhm.
So, which
Yeah.
is a lot of what you just said, but
Yeah. 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 I'm
I,
glad that
I
I'm
mean,
consistent in my views.
that was the short version there, yes. But you know, is that, for example, you want to write a novel? Do you have
Yeah.
any thoughts on the main characters, things like that?
Yeah,
I assume they're
oh
gonna be
yeah,
female.
it's very plotted out. There's a male main character and a female main character.
Okay.
And sometimes I actually think like, oh, that's going to be a difference because like there's not that it's not about gender as much as I would say my short stories have been. Um, but at the same time, I'm very conscious of like how many women, how many men, like which is not necessarily to say like it should be equal necessarily, but it's just like being conscious of how many there are.
It's the
Um,
Bulkin test.
hmm?
It's the Bulkin test
Yeah, right,
as,
right.
as as opposed to the Bechdel
The
test.
Bechdel test, yeah. I think it's like, I mean, I believe in context appropriate, It's about this book is about the athletic world, and obviously like there are lots of women who play sports, so it's appropriate that they be featured. But the character who I would say is like the driving force protagonist is a woman, and is somebody that there are elements of her that I see, in myself and everything. But there's elements of the man that I see in myself. Like I do that a lot, sort of like splitting and sort of seeing like,
Right.
if I follow this logic in myself, this is where I would go. If I follow this, I could go here, and that's kind of a way to make sure that it's psychologically grounded.
Yeah. You also, in another review, someone wrote Nadia Bulkin's favorite subject is authority in all its forms: the state, the cult, the market, the gaze. I mean, obviously, they're assuming unless you spoke to this person directly, but
No, I
it
don't think
seems,
so.
yeah, it seems true. At least that's
Mhm.
something. Can talk about that a little bit and why. I mean,
Yeah,
the name of the book is Issues with Authority, and
right.
obviously it's
Yeah. I think that comes from my poli-sci, my political science background.
Mhm.
Which I think the biggest misunderstanding about political science that I know of is that it's about like politicians and like elections and like political candidates and that kind of thing. And I would say it's about power. It's like the study of power. I
Yeah.
was always the most interested in um how could you there was very clear rules of power in the world. I'm an international, I don't do comparative necessarily, so like
Right.
inter-domestic stuff. So it was more like international relations. And I was the most interested in sort of relationships between colonized countries and the developing world, and colonizer, like their former imperial overlords, essentially. Because I'm from Indonesia, which is a colonized country, and I'm mixed race. I'm half Indonesian and half American, which is not the colonizer, but it's that like, it's a weird, mix. It's an unconventional mix. And so it's that navigation of the relationship between these two viewpoints that I find the most interesting. Um, so yeah, I've always been interested in how weak states, quote unquote weak states that don't have any of the traditional levers of power, like economic levers, political levers, etc., can actually push back against the will of strong states. That's that was my whole area of obsession throughout my academic career,
Right.
was figuring out how that could possibly work, because it flies in the face of what you would think would always happen. And yet there are instances of these small, weak states being able to sort of say, the buck stops here. Like, or not the buck stops. No. Speak to the hand. Sorry, wrong metaphor.
Talk to
Um,
Dan.
yeah. To be like, no, we're not doing that actually.
Right.
And for the strong state to sort of be pushed back on their heels and say, whoa, but why? And so my undergrad thesis was called Post-Colonial Stress Disorder. And it was all about the relationship between Indonesia and the United States post Indonesia's fight for independence, essentially.
Yeah.
Which I have so much to say about, and I could go on, but I won't. But anyway, it's a really fascinating subject, I think, because it's just like, it actually gives you a lot of hope, because you're thinking like, you know, when you think about power, it can feel very much like it's just the same story over and over again.
Yeah. I
The
have that feeling a
strong,
lot. Yeah.
yeah, the strong do what they will, and the weak suffer what they must. That's like the classic quote about power. And I think it is true most of the time, but not always. And it's those times when it's not that are interesting to me.
Yeah. You also, I can't find it right now, but authority in all its forms. I think you said somewhere that you're interested, for example, cults, why
Mm.
people believe what they believe and why
Mhm.
they're so eager to be led. I think you said the sheep are eager to run to the shepherd who's taking them to the slaughter,
Yeah. Yeah.
which, yeah, I've experienced it, and I think our country is
Yeah.
experiencing it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. It's
but
incredibly sad. My dad used to say, my dad was the Indonesian one, and he was very much an anti-authoritarian political critic.
yeah,
And he would he had a lot of frustrations with his fellow countrymen. And he would say, like, and at the time we had a president for 33 years. I
yeah,
was like, wow, he just keeps getting reelected. It's amazing. He's just so popular. And my parents were like, uh-huh, that's what's happening. Because of course
right,
they didn't actually say. Um, and he always called himself like the shepherd, like the goat herder of Indonesia. And my dad would be like, a shepherd for a nation of goats,
yeah.
you know? You get frustrated.
It does seem to me that humans are, most of them, not all of them, they just seem very eager to be led.
Yeah.
That it seems to me that for a lot of them, it's easy for them to, there's this sense of relief that comes when they don't have to think for themselves. They just have to be told, okay,
Mhm.
this is what's right. You don't have to worry about it. This is what's right because I say it's, and they don't have to have these inner battles of conscience anymore.
Yeah.
There are no
Right.
gray areas anymore.
Exactly. I think that's exactly what it is. It's not it's wanting certainty. I think ultimately what we
Yeah.
want is security and certainty of what's going to happen to us when we die, of like what the right thing to
Yes.
do is, what the right choice to make in every situation, that your family is going to be okay. I mean, all these things, right? It's like a very
Yeah.
human need.
Yeah.
And when you don't have it, you're very scared, or like you can't. I think it's very natural to be very scared.
Yeah.
And I
Uh,
think that's why cults win.
yeah.
I think that's
And
why cult leaders.
people who leave cults, I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yeah, it's fine.
they even later they know it was wrong. They know, even if they were dragged there against their will and they left. Later, it's a very human thing to deal with all the suffering that they incurred under the cult, but at the bottom there's this feeling of almost missing the
Mhm.
certainty of
Mhm.
knowing what was right because the leader said it was right.
Yeah,
You can still miss that certainty even if
absolutely.
so I mean, believe me, you can.
Yeah.
Um, it's just, considering my background, it was just very interesting for me to read all this,
Mhm.
your thoughts on this, some of your thoughts on this. And I don't think you and I have really discussed it before, at least not that
Yeah.
I remember. Um, but yeah, I mean, what's the solution to, and is there one to humans wanting to be led like this? It's just, yeah,
Here's what I will say, as like, I don't know, my optimistic take. If
sure.
not that I have much optimism right now, but
Yeah,
I think that um there is a wanting to be led, but there is also a wanting to at least have the pretense of choice and the
yeah,
pretense of like self-directed free will. And those are contrasting, I think, but I do think that like that those are like the two sort of eternal forces in humanity that kind of rest against each other and are in sort of a cyclical eternal battle, and I think right now we are in a moment of the wanting to be led,
yeah,
and maybe that's due to the uncertainty created by what the previous moment of choice left behind. Maybe it's just like the forces of globalization create a lot of chaos. Usually in times of chaos is when you really want to be led. But I think that we've also proven that we eventually rebel against it, which is really interesting. Like it may take years, it may take decades or centuries. I mean, Indonesia was a colony for 300 years,
yeah,
but eventually there was a desire to like, this is the moment we gotta go, you know, and it was a kind of an international moment. It just cannot last forever. It's not sustainable. Like that's what
No, it's
I
not.
inherently think about fascism is it's very appealing, but it's unsustainable. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, the
part of
cycle,
that is the hope too.
yeah, yeah, and unfortunately, the cycles last so long that we
Yeah.
forget the words of people who would have warned us, I think, until we're in it again. And then we have to find out for ourselves. But I don't think that we are, you know, destined to live in cultish states. I
Yeah,
just
I
people are
agree.
too different. It just doesn't sustain, but we keep falling into it. Like it's like the call of the void, and we just keep
Yeah,
falling into.
I, I'm not centuries old. I'm 54, no matter what my son says.
Okay.
But I have this outlook a lot of the time of looking at history, not in decades or even centuries. And you can really feel very sad about it because humans, they do keep making the same mistakes over and over. And it's like, aren't you guys going to learn,
Yeah.
not to do this anymore? But I think maybe if there is a solution, if humanity ever finds a solution, it has to at least partly come from acceptance that life is uncertain. If you can
Mhm.
make peace with that, no, you're not going to know this. No, you're not going to know that. And that's okay. Years ago, I told a friend, I didn't know it meant so much to him till like 10 years later. He told me what it meant to him. He came out of the same place I did. And he's like, well, what about this and what about that? I was like, hey, man, it's okay not to know the answer to everything,
Mm.
you know? And I think if humans can accept that, then maybe they won't have this insane desire to be led so much.
I agree. I think on a personal level, that's
Yeah,
absolutely the solution. Is to
yeah,
just is to basically let go of the desire for that certainty. And I think if
yeah,
you look at like sort of what was described as like strong pessimism, um kind of a little bit of like Camus, also like there are philosophers who think, yeah, that's the only way out is to just lean into that and
yeah.
say, you
I've thought a
know,
lot about it.
yeah, 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 yeah. My question is, can that work on a societal level?
I'm not sure that it can.
I'm not sure.
It's one reason why I'm such a student of Taoism. That's part
Mm-hmm,
of it, accepting life as it is,
mm-hmm,
can't control everything, you
mm-hmm,
know.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
that goes from really heavy stuff like we're talking about, or me reminding myself of this lesson again when one of the little kittens I'm taking care of outside, I find her out in the
Yeah,
street. And it's like I said to Danielle, I said, I have to accept the fact that I can't control everything and just hope for the best,
yeah.
but uh, it there is this peace that comes when you do accept that. But
Uh-huh.
I think having peace at the cost of your free will is not a peace that I want.
Right. And I think that's probably a choice that people need to make individually,
Yeah,
ultimately. You know, I think people make different choices. I
yeah.
think that's exactly what the decision is, though.
I Another friend that came with me, he went, this is years ago, he was going to go out to California, and someone else said, well, be careful, there's a lot of Colts out there. And he goes, you don't have to worry, I've been inoculated. So, I think that once you learn the lesson, you usually learn it, but I
I was
wish,
gonna say it's
yeah,
sometimes, but there are also a lot of
yeah,
people who come out of a cult and they're like, "How'd you get into this cult?" And they're like, "Well, I grew up in a cult."
yeah.
That's that hungering from, you know.
I think the other hope is, and I don't want to get too far from issues with authority, but
That's
and
okay.
I,
That's a great conversation.
we are kind of talking about it
We
if you
are,
read
we
this,
are.
if you read the book. But I also want to point out before I go on, these are three, you don't have to think about this if you don't want to. These are three very enjoyable horror stories. I mean, they really are. I love them. And yeah, that first one got me thinking of that old science fiction story I wish I could remember, but they're very enjoyable stories. But I think the hope with cults, and small and large, I've seen this. When the cult leader dies, the cult rarely survives
Mm,
because the cult is built around the magnetism of a man, and
Or a woman. But
yes,
Usually
or
a
a
man,
woman.
but
Sorry.
yeah, it can be a woman too.
Yeah. Men with their egos and,
I was gonna say that's
strive
usually,
for power.
and
Yeah.
also patriarchy,
Yeah.
like the system is
And
built for that. So anyway,
well, unfortunately, a lot of men are only going to look to another man. And unfortunately,
yeah,
really unfortunately, a lot of women are only going to look to
yeah,
another man,
exactly. That's exactly right. Yes.
you know?
Mhm.
And but I think that's the hope, especially in our current climate. I don't want to get political, but this is not going to last forever. It's not going to, no one's going to storm a hill based on the current vice president's leadership. You know what I mean? So, anyway,
Right. Nothing lasts
talk.
forever.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
um,
Yeah, Pete.
there's a Larry Niven.
Oh yeah.
One of Larry Niven's rules is freedom times security equals K, a constant. And he postulates that for every society, there is a constant. And if you give up freedom, you get more security. You give up security,
Benjamin
you get more
Franklin, what he
freedom.
said about it.
Yeah. So, we are in a position where freedom and security mean different things to different people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're seeing that play out on sort of a national scale. And I'm not sure how we resolve that, but it will resolve itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
If you
At
take
least
the
until
long
the
view,
next
what Nadia
conflict.
is saying is that things don't last,
yeah.
good and bad.
Right. Exactly.
If just when Trump bites, his cult's going to dwindle away. No one's else going to be able to catch that lightning.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's usually what happens in those kinds of movements. And
So all we have to do is cheer on the little plaques and whatever that are in those arteries. I'm sure there are a lot.
you're gonna get later you'll get a visit from
I was gonna say I'm not gonna say anything because I'm not gonna go
I'm
there.
so pitifully unimportant, it doesn't matter.
you're gonna get a visit from the Secret Service. All right, Dr. Carpenter, what exactly did you mean when you
It
said
means I wish he was not the president. What's that?
There you go. I think
wow,
that's
we are way more political than I usually get. But it's I said this in
Oh,
the last
okay. So I was 22 years in the Air Force,
yeah.
and to watch those two personages address an extremely distinguished audience who are all very highly accomplished. And one thing people don't appreciate is military leaders are actually great at sniffing out bullshit. They
Oh
know
sure.
when they're hearing bullshit. That's you could just see it in their eyes listening to that. They take an oath to protect the Constitution, not to one person.
Yeah.
I don't know. That
I think
No.
just
that
that finally
I think that is the great hope, honestly.
that actually was
Yeah.
that
I
actually
often felt that way. It's like we just
it also that moment actually broke me because since the election I've not been reading the news because I
yeah,
can't bear it.
I know.
Well, now never mind. Sorry.
No, no, you're fine. It's some of it's just really unavoidable, It really is. And Carl Sagan had a lot to say about this. He was fearful that, our country, other countries could the other part of this, Nadia, I think is believing in things, speaking of authority, ev evidence from authority instead of
Mm,
what I'm missing the phrase here.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's like the trusting the elites essentially, like elite knowledge.
yeah, instead of weighing the evidence wherever you're
Yeah,
at.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've said this a million times, but the Demon Hunter World by Carl
The demon
Sagan
hunter world. Yeah, yeah.
is a really great book on learning how to think.
Well, what
Mhm.
was
And
it?
one of the things, sorry,
1984, the party told you to ignore the evidence of your own eyes.
yeah,
Was it
but
84? Yeah. Anyway.
I do think one other thing he said was, and I'm gonna paraphrase this badly, was to avoid demonizing the other side, and to I'm not even going to try to paraphrase it
But
because
I demonize Pete all the time. I don't know.
well, he's still on your side though, sort of. All right, so cop car, and I'm sorry, I forget the title of the middle story.
The middle story is Your Next Best American Girl, which
Right.
is about a pageant girl who is not the greatest pageant girl, but she has ambitions to be. And she wakes up one day and there are these little, very unsightly sores on her arm. And she's like, crap, I need to compete in this pageant in order to like win a ticket. And you would not believe how much I read about pageant
Oh my
rules
God. Speaking
to
of
get into
horror,
the next step.
speaking of
I
horror,
was listening to pageant podcasts. I was in this, which is actually very interesting. But anyway,
Did you like
wow.
the movie Little Miss Sunshine?
I loved Little
Best
Miss
pageant
Sunshine.
ever.
So
I
great.
don't know what that is, but I'm not watching it. So
It's very comedic.
anyway,
It's like
oh,
an
okay.
indie family sort of drama.
Oh,
Abigail
okay.
Breslin is a little pageant girl
Okay.
who's not a very good pageant girl. That's the theme of Little Miss Sunshine. Anyway, so the whole thing is about her trying to resolve this. And unfortunately, it just gets worse and worse and worse in unimaginable ways. And yeah, I think I won't say more than that. This was my attempt to
Yeah.
like body horror, which I am just like is not my genre. I don't do that generally. But I was like, well, this could give me some space to like, you know, talk about like how women are supposed to be seen and
Right.
what the assumptions we have and blah 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 blah. But it was also like I think what was fun about this one for me was like writing about competition between women and between girls
Mhm.
and how that is what we are trained to do, but actually it's not. I don't know. It's not even who you are designed to hate who's out to get you necessarily.
Yeah. Um,
Guys, I gotta go cook.
okay. See you,
Nadia, it was
buddy.
really great seeing you guy again. And
I
I will see you
Thanks for
next
being here.
year at Necro.
Go cook me
Bye, Pete.
something. I hope I can make it to Necronomicon next year. I haven't missed since 2013, but
mm.
we are possibly moving in August. So,
Oh,
that'd be
you
kind of hard.
Rhode Island? Or
It might,
no?
I'm probably moving to Florida. We'll see.
Oh God,
Well, or Danielle's sister lives there, so it'd be a good thing, but moving is stressful.
that's a scary place to be, man. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I'm in Texas now, so six of one and a
Huh.
half a dozen of the other.
That's true.
So,
That's true. That's fair.
well, I don't watch body horror movies, as I think you and I have talked about, and I was like, okay, this is not his body horror story. I still
Yeah.
liked it because
Good, good.
I wasn't seeing it, it was
Yeah,
on this.
you were keeping it non-visualized. That's fair. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So,
Yeah, I
okay,
would say it's like one of my grosser stories because I was like having to write about bodies falling apart and things like that.
yeah,
But yeah, that's okay. That's fine.
and people throwing up at pageants for reasons we won't get into.
I don't think of myself as like a gross writer, but like I pushed myself because that was the theme that Jess wanted to do. So I was like, okay, we're gonna do it. Like this is where we're gonna go. Because basically what I ended up being able to write about like standards of beauty and that kind of thing, and like what is actually beauty. And you'd have to read it to see what I say in the end about it, or like what the
Yeah,
conclusion of the book is, of the story
yeah, I
is.
liked how it ended.
Yeah,
Very,
yeah.
very ironic, among other things.
Yes, indeed, indeed. So yeah, I
Uh,
think that's kind of the lighthearted middle story, essentially. That's how we
yeah,
decided to do.
lighthearted, yeah.
Well,
Compared to the other two, maybe. Yeah,
I would say, right, it's lighthearted compared to the other two. Like,
yeah, it is. Okay, so what about Red Skies in the Morning?
yeah, so Red Skies in the Morning is the one that I published with Dim Shores. And it was the reason that we decided to do this book, was to give it more of a reach, essentially.
Right.
And this one is about, gosh, have we talked about this one before? I can't remember, Mike. Did we talk about it?
I don't think so.
Didn't actually talk
I
about it.
don't remember talking to you in
Okay.
months since I've received that
Yeah.
novella.
So basically it's it's about a world in which um like things like the Ring videotape, cursed media
Yeah.
are real and are everywhere, essentially. And the government has made an attempt, the US government, well, world governments have made an attempt to put some kind of safeguards around these things, which are called paracontagions. And they've devised this system where you, because you have to, it's Ring rules, so it's every 7 days. If someone doesn't watch it within 7 days, what you've been exposed to, you die. So they have these kind of like relief centers where you can go in and be a relief to someone else and pass their chain, continue their chain.
Right.
So, for instance, how this would work is like your loved one is accidentally exposed to a paracontagion. And the thing is, they kind of call to you sometimes, so it can be hard to avoid. And
it
then
can override the survival
you can
instinct.
override the survival instinct, yes. And you're like, oh crap. There's 5 days left. Okay, they've registered with the government. You go in and you're like, I'm gonna watch it now. You watch the haunted videotape. Now you're haunted, but you trust. Maybe it's like your spouse is like, okay, I'm gonna take it next. And then they're like, okay, I'm gonna take it next, their coworker. And on and on and on and on.
Right.
There are obvious problems, however, which the system works okay, right? But there's obvious problems socially because, for one, not everybody has somebody that they can pass it on to. And that's like, I think for me was like the great tragedy is like, if I'm an orphan now, I don't have siblings. Who would I pass it on to if this happened to me? I have no idea. And so there's also this theme of like the government kind of paying people like to take on a paracontagion.
That in this situation, that would
Yeah,
happen. Yeah.
absolutely. Right.
Logical.
So I was thinking through like what all would happen. And then there's groups that say, you know what? We should just kill prisoners by exposing them to paracontagions and then not helping them. And that should be the end. It should not be the innocence of society paying the price.
Right.
It should be the undesirables who we can get rid of through this
Right.
method, essentially. So I was just kind of working through like how society would change as a result of that. And I think a lot of it was inspired by COVID, even though I thought of the idea before COVID, but COVID really like, I think you could see a lot of it in it because it's like this sense of like, there was like this moment where we were like, we're all in this together, 2 weeks or whatever it was, something like very unrealistic to stop the curve, to bend the curve or whatever it was. And then rapidly it was like, no, never mind. Actually, I don't care.
Yeah. What was the genesis of this story? Do you remember?
It was The Ring, which it
Okay.
wasn't very meaningful for me when I watched it. And basically I was just like, what do you do in the end? Because I don't think it's a spoiler at this point, it's a very old story, but like she spreads it to,
Yeah.
is this in the movie? But she's in the Japanese version, you see what she does, which is her son has been exposed to it, and she's like, well, crap. And so they make a video and they expose it to her dad willingly. And he consents to it. And he's like, I'm old, man. Just show it to me.
Yeah, no, that's not the American version.
Yeah, it's not. I think it may actually have happened in the American version, but I think it's not depicted. But in Ringu, that's explicitly what happens.
Okay.
And he sacrifices himself to save his grandson. And so I was just thinking, like, good Lord, like, what if these things were actually real and the government knew about them? Like, what would we do? How would we try to like deal with it? How would society change to deal with that? With this sort of like this thing where you have to rely on each other. It forces that. But it's like we're a society that like likes to act selfishly and doesn't like to be inconvenienced. So how the heck do you make this work?
Still such an effective horror movie too. even
It
after all
really
this
is.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think I forgot to write it down, but and I know Matt is interested in this, but the way you grew up in the culture of Indonesia
Mm,
and belief in ghosts, it's
mm.
almost like belief is not really a strong enough word for it. Would you mind talking about that for a little bit,
Sure.
for a minute or
Yeah.
two, whatever?
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
I know what I was trying to think of. Your
Oh yeah.
mom was
But
like something like, I don't believe in God, but ghosts get you, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, I definitely grew up in a culture where ghosts were real-ish, but like if you don't talk about them, they won't come, you know? So like they were always kind of a lingering threat. I feel like sort of the way that like American kids, I don't actually know if this is something American kids felt, but like the fear of like serial killers, like plucking
Yeah.
you off the street kind of thing is like
Stranger danger.
it's kind of how we felt about ghosts. Like we felt it was stranger danger, but it was like a demon or a ghost, like an evil ghost. That was the stranger danger. So we didn't want to think about it too much, but like we all would act as if it was there. Like I think I've probably told you this story, Mike, but like
Yeah.
dad who was super rational being like being mad at my mom for wearing turquoise to a certain beach that we were going to because the Queen of the South Seas lives there. She's not real. And she's a spirit queen, and that's her favorite color. So she will take people who are wearing it into the ocean, drown them. And my mom was like, "Oh my God, it's a shirt." And my dad was like, and it was the only time I've ever seen him act that way, you know, that he was
Oh,
like
wow.
actually like upset with her for wearing this, you know, and he's like somebody who is not this is not his thing, you know.
It's
Um,
just so ingrained in the culture. Is that
it's
what you
just so
mean?
ingrained, yeah, and
I,
like
I, the one thing that was striking to me, I've not watched, it's hard to get Indonesian horror, at least for me to stream. For movie night, we recently watched, what's it, Perempuan Tahan Jahanam? My-
perempuan tahan jahanan, girl
uh,
something something.
uh, basically, it is a curse story.
Oh, Dana. Okay. Dana
Sorry, I
Jahan.
just, yeah, my
Oh, it's
pronunciation is
Impedicor. Okay, yeah.
Pettigrew. Okay,
Oh, Belgrade.
it's like, first of all, no one got out. You know,
No, no.
every anyone who was like even tangentially associated with it within
Yeah.
500 yards got fucked over.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter if you were good or you thought you could beat the curse or someone said they'd take it for you
Mm,
or if someone made the curse on you, that it didn't matter. I just
yeah.
that just
How did that make you feel?
well, first of all, it was really effective horror,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, okay, I, I watched that Laotian movie, The Long Walk. I
Oh,
think.
Oh,
yeah.
Mike was telling you to
I
watch
was
that.
there for that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't
Uh,
seen it.
oh golly.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
it's
I think
another
you'd
thing
like
where
it.
like,
I know I probably would. I just
is
haven't
this
gotten
like is this Southeast Asian, East Asian ghost horror or demon horror? Sorry, you're fucked.
Yeah,
It's not just the teenagers who have sex that get killed.
no,
Everybody gets
no.
killed.
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think that I think that there is actually two strains of this, and some I think breaks down somewhat around cultural lines, but not totally. But there's a
Yeah.
strain of like, yes, you're all fucked, and that's like the Grudge. That's like my classic
Right.
example of that. Like you walk by a house and like a ghost will eat you out of a trash bag, and you're like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do? You know, like
Yeah.
like
What did I do?
what did I do? Like what is this radius of damage? And actually, in the
It's
very
like,
original,
you have a real problem, Ghost, with your attitude.
like the TV series, there was like the very first thing is basically she eats the world. Like that's how it ends. Is Kayako just eats the world, which is the inevitable ending, right? But then there's another strain that is there. You see this in some Southeast Asian horror. One of my favorites is May the Devil Take You. That's also a recent one that's released around the same time as Impedagore.
Is that
Um,
available to stream?
yeah, I think it's on. Ooh, I want to say it's on Netflix or Shudder, at least.
May the devil take you.
I
Okay.
got it written down on my list now.
If you like Evil Dead, it's very Evil Dead, but I don't know. I loved it. Anyway, it was like just so perfect. But anyway, in that one, the deal works.
I see.
And it encourages you to be like, actually, you can make it. You can make deals. I mean, that's how you ended up here is because someone made a deal like to fuck you, but you can make another deal to fuck them, you know? And like, and that's like another strain. And I actually like that strain better in certain ways because it's like, that's what I'm talking about with like weak states negotiating up.
Right.
You're just a human, and you're like, I'm negotiating with a demon. I love
Are
that.
you saying
That's
something
the
like
thing.
It Follows kind of thing? Where you
It,
sort of,
in a
you're not
way,
really making a deal, but you're,
in a way. I mean, and
passing
that
it on.
that actually is like another one that sort of inspired Red Skies in the Morning. Was It Follows?
I just the movie The Medium when they're
Yeah.
gonna like hey, what was the I wouldn't have why spend the money on the exorcism when you could just buy some cheap vodka and wait for the end?
I
I mean,
love the Medium.
I did
Haven't
too.
seen
It's
it.
a great movie, but lordy.
It's the political economy of like spirit interactions. That is so Southeast Asian. Like that idea that like there's like you can haggle your way out of a curse. Maybe, or maybe not, but like you can try. You can make an
Yeah.
attempt.
There's the conflict for the story, for one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think in Red Skies, it is a constant haggle. It is a constant barter of all of society
That
to,
one more is like a It Follows too.
yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
to like
Yeah.
withstand the apocalypse of like ghosts, essentially. Like, but it's a constantly negotiated thing. And there's some people who are like, I would like out of this bargain. I would like out of this whole deal. Whether that means I'm going to destroy someone else or I'm going to destroy myself.
Yeah.
But like either way, I am no longer I'm out. I'm out of this like this compromise. This
Peace
world
out.
of compromise. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, one of the main reasons Matt does movie night is he told me this, that he's too scared to watch the movies alone, right?
Well, maybe, but also it's Isabel absolutely does not like scary movies.
Mm,
You see those shorts on YouTube where scare your spouse. Okay, that'd be a great way for me to end up dead, you know? Like, no fake spider on the bed, no sir.
Yeah. So,
So this way I get to watch all these great movies. I'm always looking
yeah.
for.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, I don't have the date in front of me, but Nadia and I are going to do another,
Mhm.
horror movies discussion where she gives a list of the best ones for the past 6 to 12
However
months.
long it's been. Yeah. We
That-
basically
Yeah.
That'll be great.
And
That'll be great.
it is. I mean, I find myself, if Nadia recommends a movie and says this is good, I enjoy it.
That's what you said about me too.
usually worth
No, I
something.
did not say that about you.
You said that about me.
No, I don't think so.
Where else could you get recommendations like The Lost Skeleton of Cadavra?
This is the first I've
Not
heard
me.
of it.
The
So,
Lost Skeleton of Cadavra. It's the greatest movie ever made.
mm.
It's much better than Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh, okay.
Oh, is it? That's good.
I tell you, if you watch it for Halloween, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah.
That's a
Okay.
promise. But okay.
The wife talking to the geologist, if I had wanted to avoid an exciting life, I wouldn't have married a man who studies rocks.
What?
Yeah. It's
I don't get it.
real. You'd like it, Mike. You'd like it. The Lost Skeleton
Okay.
of Cadavra.
Okay. I'll write that down.
He says writing it down.
Yeah, I'm not writing it down.
You're making a mistake, I'm telling you.
Well, thanks for doing this, Nadia.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
The Issues with Authority is available in print and Kindle, and very economical price, especially in Kindle. So I think
Good.
it's $5.99,
Good.
something
It
like
should be.
that. Yeah. So
Awesome.
yeah. So well, I was gonna ask you what's next, but you kind of already answered that.
Yeah, novel.
Yeah.
Cold.
When do you think?
You already have a contract for it?
Oh God, no, please.
Oh,
That would be a dream.
I
But
thought
no.
I thought you highfalutin writers had agents and stuff. And
I have an agent, but I don't have like, I'm not that highfalutin that I have like a contract. Like,
oh,
I love writing on contract because it's such a relief. You're not thinking about
Mm,
like, how do I sell this? You know, like how do I make sure that this gets bought? Because like Cop Car, for instance, like Max was just like, just write whatever, you know. And for Red Skies in the Morning, Sam at Dim Shores was also like, just write whatever, you know, like I trust you, essentially. And so you can just write free. You don't have to worry about marketability, etc.
I think Sam's great that way.
Yeah. So, um,
yeah, I remember you wrote a story for me for an anthology, and I was just like, oh, is it going to be good? Well, Nadia wrote it, so yeah. So
is this the crazy the There is a Bear in the Woods?
there's the Bear in the Woods. Yes, there's a Bear in the Woods, and Autumn Cthulhu. What a great
That
story.
was one of the weirdest stories I've ever written. Just FYI, it still remains one of the weirdest stories I've ever written.
Plus, it's set in Iowa, so extra points,
Oh, that's yeah,
where I'm
fair.
from. Yeah. Um, when do you think that'll be out? A
The
couple years or
novel?
a year? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope to finish it like next year, you know, but then it
Yeah.
becomes it's a who knows when it will come out, you know, because it's the struggles of publishing, obviously.
Yeah.
But
We
you know,
should
we'll see.
we should
But
get Badland
I
to publish
basically
it.
was like, I told my agent recently, I was like, I want to give it a set amount of time where we try to go to like big publishing houses. And if not, I'm
Yeah.
just going to go to like a small indie press, you know, because I don't want to wait until like for forever or to be just. I was like, I don't want to be discovered in death. Like, please, I would like to just publish it.
Well,
Well, and
you
unfortunately,
have a certain amount, like you say, okay, like we joke, but in our little niche of interest, you've got your name has a certain amount of cachet. You could probably approach Weird House Publishing. I'm sure they'd love to have a Bulkin title on their shelves.
well, but she's saying she'd like to try the big five first, is what you're saying, right?
Trying
If
to.
I,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah. I mean,
yeah, it's a
the
crapshoot.
agency's always going to try to push that, right? But it's such a crapshoot, exactly, that I'm like, for me, it's more important ultimately to publish it and to reach readers who might connect with it, because
To be
that's
read.
you know, I think
Well,
having something in that you just trunk that you're proud of is really sad. Like,
yeah.
and that's what I don't want to have
The other
happen.
thing is too, gosh, I love novellas so much. I love short stories so much.
Yeah,
But novels tends to be where writers get
that's where
noticed.
that's where
Yeah.
the
So I really think, yeah, it's not that you don't know this, but it's obviously
yeah,
a
yeah,
wise
yeah,
next step.
yeah.
But
Trying to.
I guess I do want to ask, you know, what's your long term? What do you want to do? Um, keep writing novels, keep
Oh, in terms of
alternating.
like my life, like my
No, your writing career.
my writing
Uh,
career. I
yeah,
think
I
I'm
mean,
going.
I know look, there are people who you've got two collections out. I know
Yeah.
you got a lot of fans who would like to read six Nadia Bulkin collections or novels,
Mm, mm.
or more. So no, I was just curious about what your long-term goals are with that.
I mean, I love short fiction, and it's almost like the constraints on it force you and push you to be even more inventive and freer. And I love that challenge that short fiction brings. So like
Yeah,
I can't imagine I would ever stop writing short fiction, but I imagine that I would want to balance it with like some novels, you know, like there's a few that I have in my head that I'm like, I would like to write this. I haven't come
yeah,
up with a new one in a while, which means maybe the ones in my head, because I have so many in my head, It's like that's it for my life. If I can just write these, I can say I'm satisfied.
Yeah.
But it's, I have a full-time job and I'm not the most quickest writer. So can't imagine it's going to be very fast, but I would like to be able to like get these stories out of me. But I will almost always take an opportunity to write a short story.
The question that I like to ask a lot of writers, and I don't think I've ever asked it of you yet, or creators of all types, artists, whatever, podcast, doesn't matter, is what does success look like to you? I mean,
Yeah.
what has to happen for you to feel successful?
Yeah. I think for me, it really is. I don't have a very clear picture. Like there's not a concrete thing like movie deal or something like that, or like
Sure.
bestseller list. Nothing like that. I honestly like when someone comes up to me and says like, I love this story, I connected with it, like it made me feel seen in the same way that I did when I read Haunting of Hill House, like that level of like, oh my God, human connection essentially across the page, especially for people that are like, that need it essentially. That every time someone says that kind of thing to me, that I'm is like, that is success to me. And I have just allowed the measure of success to be small, honestly. Like
I personally could not agree with you more. Yeah,
I
something
just think
similar.
everything else is also like too fickle, and too like not in my control, like not something I can strive for. But I feel like this is something that I can actually strive for. It's just like
And
finding
it's
those people.
gravy. The other stuff is gravy, reminds me when I first got into real estate. This guy was kind of a mentor. He goes, don't focus just on new construction, getting this company where you sell all their new construction homes. Because it's an eggs and all in one basket thing. He goes, that's the gravy. You go for the, people who first time home buyer, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's nice. $1 million contracts are
Yeah,
nice, but
for sure. I mean, I guess, but at the same time,
I've
like,
heard.
I mean, it's like I don't know if I would ever want to be like a viral sensation because I feel like a lot of people then are reading it who are like, this it's not for them, like, and they don't know what it's just like, and then they're like, no, this is terrible, or like, whatever, and I'm like, I don't.
Also,
Yeah.
don't you think that kind of what you're talking about, somebody saying that sort of thing to you and how great that feels? Social media has kind of fooled us into thinking that if you don't have 1 million followers,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
totally.
blah, you're not successful. When the reality is, if you have people saying to you, wow, what you're doing really makes a difference to me.
Exactly. Yeah. That means
That's,
that
yeah,
means way more because that's something that's like I might have actually like at least done something to make that person feel seen for a moment, and that's,
yeah,
you know, gosh, like we're in a world where we need that.
yeah.
Um, especially the weak among us, like so.
I had somebody, he signed up for the Patreon the other day, and I sent him a note and I said, thanks, that, I appreciate that. And he said something to the effect of, you've done so much for the community. It's about the time I helped you out a little bit. Thanks for everything you did. And I just was like, I'm not saying, I just teared up.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I help someone. What I'm doing means something to someone. Is it kind
Absolutely.
of what you're talking about too? And yeah,
And that's why I write movie reviews also, because it's like that is a way for me to give back to the community. It's like, hey,
and
maybe
talk about work that matters. That matters
it's
because I
great.
hate watching
It
a
does.
movie.
It's like
It does.
check
Oh
out this
no,
movie.
I'm not being sarcastic.
Check out this movie you may not have heard of. It's actually really good. Like
Right.
give you pleasure for 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's your cat's name?
Piper.
Piper. Hi, Piper. Piper's
He's
like, this interview is just for me. We all know it.
yes.
Nadia's just afraid to say it. Here's a, sorry, buddy. I know you were sleeping.
Oh, it's another Piper. Who's that?
This is Monty. His full name
Mon
was Guy Montag.
oh, he's fluffy.
Yeah, he's a long hair. He's the only long hair.
Oh,
Sorry, buddy. You're sleepy, aren't you?
yeah.
Well,
It's
thank you for
Black cat
thank you
season.
for doing this.
I wish
Sorry,
Isabel
I'm
wasn't
putting the
cat
old man
allergic.
to sleep. What?
Isabel's cat allergic, or I'd have a cat.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
that's
You want a
sad.
cat?
It'd just be
Yeah.
nice to have a pet.
Yeah. She's
I
allergic
had
to
fish. I
anything?
had fish, but they weren't very cuddly.
You get like a hamster or a snake,
Um,
or a hamster and a snake.
my son had a hamster. It kept escaping his cage somehow.
I'll bet your wife loved that.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. You know
Well, yeah.
you can feed cats anti-allergen food, so they shed less.
Yeah, and Danielle was allergic. She just took medication for it. So quit making excuses. Go rescue a cat.
She just adjusted to the reality that there was going to be a cat.
Once again, I would like to wake up alive.
Better than waking up dead, you know?
Or Ramsey Campbell waking up screaming. Isn't that the title of one of his? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Why do you keep putting it upside down?
It's
There, that's right. Okay.
No, that's not right.
That's okay.
There you go.
This is that book, Awakening the Crow. If you want to enter the contest to win it, just send an email to ezineprizes@gmail.com. We'll draw a winner in like 6 to 8 weeks. It could be you. Just put Crow in the subject heading. Who knows? You might get this book.
Thanks for doing this, Nadia.
Thanks for doing this, Mike. Always
And
a
everybody,
pleasure.
oh, thank you. And I mean it, guys. Nadia is a wonderful writer. You should check out Issues with Authority and She Said Destroy. And she's an even better person than a writer. I'm really proud to know her.
Aw,
So,
thank you.
and if I know the last two episodes were at weird times. There was one earlier today, and I had one on Friday. But on Friday, I interviewed Michael Wehunt for his new book, The
Yeah.
October Film Hunt, which is wonderful. And if you didn't catch it live, it's there on YouTube. It'll be up on Spotify and other places shortly. And then, like I said earlier, earlier today, I interviewed the publisher of In the Mouth of Madness, which was a lot of fun. And the 4K of that's coming out too. I don't know if you're a fan of that movie or not, but yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that movie. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. He said he didn't even plan it, but the 4K is coming out later this month. He didn't know that when he.
That's great. Great timing.
Yeah. Oh, I sent a note to Paul a
I don't
couple
know
weeks
if I
ago.
would ever have that book on my bookshelf that was called that. I'd be like afraid.
Yeah, no. Do you read Sutter Kane? Yeah.
No, I don't want to. I'm scared. I do not
I sent
follow Sutter Kane on social media.
I sent a note to Paul a few weeks ago, and I said I was all excited. Paul, they're doing a new Lake Mungo documentary, and he's like, yeah, I'm in it. I was like, oh, okay. Or actually, what he said was, yeah, I'm one of the talking heads.
That's
So,
hilarious.
all right, well,
when we knew him, we
What's
knew him
that?
when. We knew him when.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, for as successful as he is, he sure is humble and a very nice guy.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, Matt, good to see you. Nadia, really good to see you too. And thanks for doing this. And Monty says goodbye to Piper. So thanks everyone for watching and listening.
Bye.
We'll see you next time.